Welcome to Richard and Greg, a channel dedicated to discussion, debate and argument on a whole array of topics. In today's video, I ask Greg whether Meghan Markle, who's been involved in the news these past 2 days due to a personal life tragedy, is a hypocrite or victim. And by listening, you will see why I asked that question and Greg's reply to it. So let's take a look. Welcome to Richard and Greg. It's Thursday, the 26th of November 2020, and it's just shortly after midday GMT. Today's subject is really going to be a follow-up on our previous video about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Our previous video highlighted that they were basically leaving the royal family and moving to the United States in order to become billionaires, and we've placed a link in the description box below. But the question really is that Meghan has hit the news again in the last 48 hours as she revealed a tragic miscarriage. The dilemma that we often encounter, though, is the fact that she was suing journalists for breaching her privacy. And now all of a sudden, she's revealing the most intimate of details. And whilst all our sympathies go to any woman who suffers a miscarriage, the vast majority do not necessarily see it fit and proper to suddenly hit the headlines and announce it and express the grief that they've gone through with it. And we just wonder, is this just another news headline grabbing attention for the public? And whether really anyone should reveal these innermost secrets, especially, as I've already mentioned, she had a lawsuit demanding privacy. This moves into a wider subject area, really, of whether Harry and Meghan Markle should have more or less given up the royal family in the first place to pursue money. Those who are aware of the royal family know that the one thing they're not short of is money. So what's really going on here? I have a lot of questions, and I'm sure that my colleague Greg will have a number of answers to them. And on that basis, we'll go over to Greg, and I'll first ask him the question, is he a royalist? And what's his view of what has happened generally, first of all, with Prince Harry and Meghan, and then more specifically about whether they're just trying to seek public attention. Greg, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, and believe it or not, it is a good afternoon. Sun shineth. Been misty all morning. Am I a royalist? Yes, I'm a royalist. A constitutional monarchy is, in my opinion, probably the best solution, because just imagine who we would have as head of state if we did not have our constitutional monarchy. Would it be Neil Kinnock? Would it be John Major? Tony Blair, or even, heaven forfend, Boris Johnson? I'm sorry, I think politicians make very poor heads of state. We have been served very well by our monarchy, though I can understand many people will, out of petty jealousy, be resentful of the fact that it is an hereditary title. However, since none of us are going to inherit it, and since it serves the purpose and it earns us far more in things like foreign aid and tourism than it costs us, I can see no better alternative. So yes, I am a monarchist. I am not a monarchist in the terms of, for instance, Thailand, where the monarch is so far beyond the law, and at the moment they have a king who spends most of his time living in Germany. So I'm not very keen on that, and you cannot be outspoken against the monarchy in such a country, whereas here we can be as rude as we like about our monarch, and they are wise enough not to take petty offense over it. That is, of course, until they take offense at something, as Harry and Meghan Markle have recently done with suing newspapers for publicising material about them, which are court cases, I might hasten to add, that they have lost, because it's almost a case of live by the sword, die by the sword. They are nobody without publicity, so they cannot complain when they get publicity. I think it was very foolish of them to make an issue of it, and the policy of never defend, never argue is probably by far the best one for keeping the right side of that particular minefield, namely the litigation minefield, where you can never judge the outcome, as at the moment Donald Trump is finding, where his Republican supporters, who are in positions of authority in the states where he is seeking recounts, are defending the way in which they have performed the election. And so far, he has lost every case, some 34 of them, apparently. But back to Meghan and Harry. I think it's entirely up to them whether they wish to disclose the fact that Meghan had a miscarriage. I personally do not see medical conditions as something that should be quite so strenuously defended, in that they are medical conditions. They're beyond one's control or self-inflicted on occasions. And I really don't mind if, as many will know, I have had cancer, I've had a heart attack, I've had serial cancer, and almost all of my medical records, and when I say almost all, it's where I've not bothered putting something irrelevant up, are available on the internet for anyone to read as encouragement to others who may be setting out down the trail of cancer or caring for somebody with cancer, heart attack, or somebody who is in fear of a heart attack or has had one. I have merely put it up because I've survived for over 20 years now with cancer, serial events of cancer, various types of cancer, and I believe the fact that I've published that might well help somebody else and give them courage for their future. And to be perfectly selfish about it, I've also found writing it down to help others cathartic. Possibly this is exactly the position from which Meghan Markle is coming. I say Meghan Markle, it would appear to be a joint decision between Meghan and Harry. However, I would not fault it if it had been Meghan acting independently or even acting against the wishes of Harry in this instance. It's her body. It was she who lost the child, and it was she who had the medical problems that gave rise to that loss of a child. It is always sad when somebody who wants a child loses that child, but do bear in mind that 1 in 5 women in the Western world experience a miscarriage. It's a much hushed up subject because many of them will take it totally in their stride. Many will actually miscarry a child. I've known of instances where people have miscarried a child while at work and have returned to work within an hour or two. I know of others who have gone into a long period of depression and woe about it. Everybody reacts differently. But let us face it, in the Western world, we are fortunate that 1 in 5 women have a miscarriage, but with modern medicine, very, very few women die in childbirth, unlike previous generations.
Okay, Greg, but the point I'm really perhaps aiming at is not so much really the tragedy of it, because we'll all admit it is a tragedy. The point I'm making is, on the one hand, how can you marry up an argument that you want your rights to privacy, and then you go on the internet and you reveal some of your most intimate, private experiences? Surely, is that not having your cake and eat it? Is that not hypocrisy?
If you can manage having your cake and eating it, full marks. It's what we all would really like to do. It's not hypocritical as such. It's a desire to control one's own life. However, if you expect the media to kowtow to your words and be selective in what they publish, I'm afraid, think again. Because as we've discovered within the last 24 hours, the media will publish what it feels like regardless. If you have a sound enough case and wish to take it to court, emulate Aaron Banks, who's just taken Carol Cadwallader to court, and she backed down the night before the court case and has agreed to settle his legal expenses and apologise. And I understand the Guardian will be publishing a full page apology in the Guardian shortly.
Yes, Greg, but most of our listeners won't know who Cadwallader and Aaron Banks are. But your point is that if you feel you've got a sound enough legal case, then take it, but don't pretend you've got one and then fall at the last hurdle. Is that what you're intimating?
Well, basically, and also that litigation is very much a case of if you can afford it. You get the justice you can afford, which of course is not a very good basis for legal actions. I was sorry to see a member of the royal family, even though they have abrogated on their royal duties, I was sorry to see them taking the press and other media to court. I think it was a mistake. I think that they would have been far better served if they had worked diplomatically through their very extensive and professional PR department to gain not so much a retraction necessarily, but counter supply of the good news they wished to publish, because there's no doubt they do seem to want to stay in the headlines.
Well, I think that's a good point on which to end. Greg, thank you very much. I knew you'd have words of wisdom, and yet again you've delivered.
I thank you kindly. Now I'm off to enjoy the sunshine, since it's been disgusting for about 10 days now.
Well, enjoy your gardening, Greg. Thank you very much.
Indeed. Have a good day.
We hope you enjoyed that discussion, and if so, kindly subscribe to our channel and press the bell sign so that you are notified of our videos as and when they are published. And also in the description box below, we place links to certain books, articles, and programs which you may find of benefit, and for which we will receive a small commission should you purchase through our link. And this will help support our channel and to enable us to develop it further.